So now that you use the quadratic formula to solve some problems, now we're going to take it and figure out some ways we can apply it into real life situations or some word problems and things. So just a reminder that the quadratic formula is x equals opposite b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. And again, you want to memorize that. We're going to use it for the rest of your mathematics career. So just to make this video a little bit faster, I went ahead and wrote down the problem, so feel free to pause at any time to write this down. But our first example is going to be about a revenue of a company, so their weekly revenue is R equals negative 3p squared plus 60p plus 1060, where p is the price of the company's product. Whatever it is they're selling, p is how much it costs to the public. We are going to use the discriminant to figure out whether there is a price for which the weekly revenue would be $1,500. So in order to do this, we need to figure out what $1,500 would be. Well, it says it's the weekly revenue. So which one of these variables would we replace with $1,500 if it's revenue? Well, R is revenue, so we are going to replace the R, which stands for revenue, with the 1,500, which is what we want our revenue to be. So we would rewrite our formula right here as 1,500 equals negative 3p squared plus 60p plus 1060. Okay, so but in order to put this into the quadratic formula or anything else, remember we need to set it equal to 0. So don't forget to set equal to 0, so we would subtract our 1,500 over with its like term. See, it doesn't have a variable, so that's its like term. So then we would get 0 equals negative 3p squared plus 60p, and when we subtract that, we would get negative 440. Okay, now we could put this into the quadratic formula where a would be negative 3, 60 would be b, and negative 440 would be C, but I have a little bit of a cheat code for you. It doesn't ask what that week would be, correct? So we don't need an exact number. So if we don't need an exact number for P, we can just use the discriminant, because remember how we talked about yesterday, if the discriminant is positive, you will have 2 solutions. If it is 0, you will have 1 solution, and if the discriminant is negative, you would have no real solutions. So really all we need to do is use our discriminant, which remember is just the b squared minus 4ac part, to see if that, when it's finished, is a positive number or 0 or a negative number, and that'll tell us how many solutions we have. So we put stuff in, so b is 60, so I have 60 squared minus 4 times a times c, and 60 squared would be 600 minus 5,280. Since we have 1, 2, 3 negatives, we would still subtract. And when I subtract that,